Atma Bodha by Sri Ramana Maharshi, verse 31. The whole objective word, such as the body, is born of ignorance and transient like a bubble on water. Know the self to be distinct from it and identical with Brahman, the Supreme. Being distinct from the gross body, birth, death, old age, debility, etc., do not pertain to me. Not being the senses, I have no connection with the objects of the senses, such as sound, etc. The Shrutis declare, I am not the vital air, prana, not the mind, but pure being. Not being the mind, I am free from likes and dislikes, fear, etc. I am free from qualities and actionless, eternal, undifferentiated, untainted, unchanging, formless, ever free and pure. Like ether, I am always pervading all, in and out, unswerving, ever equal in all, pure, untainted, clear and unshaken. That which remains eternal, pure, ever free, all alone, unbroken bliss, non-dual, being, consciousness, bliss, transcendent Brahman, the same am I. Long constant practice of I am Brahman only destroys all vasanas, latent tendencies. Born of ignorance as an efficacious remedy, Rasayana eradicates a disease. Be dispassionate, keep the senses under control, and let the mind not wander. Sit in a solitary place and meditate on the self as infinite and one alone. Keep the mind pure. With keen intellect, resolve all that is objective into the self, and always meditate on the self as clear and single like ether. Having discarded all names and forms, you are now the knower of the Supreme Being and will remain as perfect consciousness bliss. Being the same as consciousness bliss, there is no longer any differentiation such as the knower and the known, and the self shines forth as itself. If in this manner, by process of constant meditation, the two pieces of wood, namely the self and the ego, are rubbed together, the flames from the fire of knowledge burn away the whole range of ignorance. On knowledge destroying ignorance in this way, like the light of dawn scattering the darkness of night, the self will rise like the sun in all its glory. True, the self is always here and now, yet it is not apparent owing to ignorance. On ignorance being destroyed, the self seems as if it were gained, like the necklace on one's own neck. Footnote: the allusion is to the story of a lady wearing a precious necklace who suddenly forgot where it was, grew anxious, looked for it everywhere, and even asked others to help, until a kind friend pointed out that it was round the seeker's own neck. Just as in darkness a post is mistaken for a man, so is Brahman in ignorance is mistaken for a jiva. If, however, the true nature of a jiva is seen, delusion vanishes. Knowledge arising on the experience of reality immediately destroys the ignorant perception of I and mine, which resemble the delusion of direction in darkness. A jnani, who is a perfectly self-realized yogi, sees by the eye of wisdom all objective phenomena to be in and of the self, and thus the self to be the sole being, how does he then act in the world? Just as clay is the only material from which different utensils are formed, such as pots, jars, etc., so he sees that the self too is the whole universe, and there is nothing but the self. In order to be liberated while yet alive, the sage should completely eschew the adjuncts, upadhis, and thus gain the real nature of being, consciousness, bliss, like the maggot that turns into a wasp. Having crossed the ocean of illusion and having killed the demons of likes and dislikes, the yogi, now united to Shanti, peace, finds delight in the self and so remains in his own glory. The Jivan Mukta, freed from all desire for transient, external pleasures, delights in his own self and remains clear and steady like lamp in a pot. Like the Akasha, ether, which remains untainted by the objects contained therein, the Muni, sage, remains untainted by the adjuncts upadhis covering him. Being the all-knower, he remains like the one that knows not, and moves about like the air, uncontaminated by the objects it touches. On the dissolution of the adjuncts, the body, senses, etc., the sage, now freed from particularities, merges in the all-permeating being Vishnu, like water in water, ether in ether, or fire in fire. There is no gain over and above this gain, no pleasure over and above this bliss, no knowledge over and above this knowledge. Know this to be Brahman, that on seeing which nothing remains to be seen, on becoming which there is no more return to samsara, on knowing which nothing remains to be known, know that to be Brahman. What fills everything above, below, and around itself, being consciousness, bliss, non-dual, infinite, eternal, one only, know that to be Brahman. What remains as immutable, unbroken bliss, and as one only, that which even the scriptures indirectly denote by the process of elimination as not this, not this, know the same to be Brahman. Dependent on a fraction of the inexhaustible bliss of the Atman, all the gods such as Brahma enjoy bliss according to their grades. Like the butter in milk, the objective universe is contained in it. All the activities are based on it alone. Therefore, Brahman is all-pervading. What is neither subtle nor gross, short nor long, produced nor spent, what is devoid of form, attribute, caste, and name, known it to be Brahman, by whose light the sun and other luminaries shine forth, but which is not itself illumined by them, and in whose lights all this is seen, know it to be Brahman. Like fire in a piece of red-hot iron, Brahman permeates the whole world in and out, and all through, makes it shine, and itself also shines by itself. Brahman is distinct from the universe, yet there remains nothing apart from Brahman. Should any other than Brahman appear, it is only an illusion, like water in a mirage. Whatever is seen or heard, It cannot be different from Brahman. True knowledge finds Brahman to be being, consciousness, bliss, and one without a second. Only the eye of wisdom can see the omnipresent being, consciousness, bliss, but not the eye of ignorance, for a blind eye cannot see the sun. Like gold freed from the dross, the Jiva Sadhaka has all his impurities burnt away by the fire of knowledge, bursting into flames fanned by Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana, hearing, reflection and contemplation. And now he shines forth by himself. Because the sun of knowledge, the chaser of darkness, has risen, the Atman shines in the expanse of the heart as the omnipresent sustainer of all and illumines all. He who bathes in the clear, warm, ever refreshing waters of the Atman, which being available everywhere, here and now, need not be sought for in special centers and seasons, such a one remains actionless. He is the knower of all, he pervades all and is ever immortal.